welcome back to session 3 of our little mini series on wellbeing with IVC Evidentia. We're back with Sarah and Scott again today. So Scott is the People Policy and Colleague Experience Manager at IVC Evidentia, and Sarah is the Colleague Experience Specialist at IVC Evidentia. And we're delighted to have them here today. We're going to be talking about top tips for how you can implement a wellbeing program in your practice. And this is based on their experiences of implementing the Wellbeing Champions Network within IVC Evidentia. So first of all, can I just ask you both to explain your role within IVC? So Scott, can I come to you first, please?
Yeah, so I look after our people policies, so things around sort of like absence and family friendly, and then also colleague experience. So it's quite a wide ranging role. So from well-being to diversity, for example. So yeah, there's quite a lot of different things involved in my role all around the colleague experience.
Thank you, Scott. And Sarah?
Yep, so I'm part of Scott's team, colleague experience, focusing on the resources that will sit behind policies and well-being, so that managers and colleagues have got resources that they can find and help them and support them through that. And especially on the Wellbeing Champions, which we discussed in the last episode as well. That's been my sort of drive for the last 12 months.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you both. Okay, so Sarah, I'm going to come to you first. I'd like to ask you, what are your top tips for where to start in implementing a wellbeing program in your own veterinary practice?
I think first thing is to make sure that you've got the right people that are driving that initiative. So they need to have somebody that's got a genuine interest in supporting others, and they've got that ideas and motivation as well to be able to start those conversations and not be scared about having that conversation. Because we always say that the worst thing you can do is not have a conversation. It's better to ask if somebody needs help than not to ask at all. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, I don't think, in practice to start with. Just a notice board with support lines or a few ideas. There's plenty of things that you can find online. Focus on a couple of key awareness campaigns in the year, rather than trying to do everything at once. There's so many awareness days that we try and aim to do a few in every quarter, rather than trying to catch everyone, because that's just not possible. So I think really it's finding something that works within your team. There might be something that's one of the team members is really keen on in a charity, and find something that can engage everybody, get them together, and just see if you can do something as a team to get together and talk about well-being, but hide it behind maybe a cake sale or a walk. Dog walks are always good with veterinary practices as well. So it doesn't need to be anything major. We also look when we're in practice at doing walks at lunchtime to get people out as well. So having different routes from your practice, a 10-minute walk, a 20-minute walk, depending on what people have got time for. But it also means that you're talking to somebody you might not talk to normally. You're getting to know your teams, and that encourages that well-being feeling within the community of your team as well. But yeah, it's having that genuine person driving it that needs to be there first.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And I think to your point, Sarah, I think a lot of this is about keeping it really simple. It's not about having, big, events all the time and big things that you need to arrange. Actually, some of it can be really simple things, such as having a really great notice board where people can just go and get the information they need, or giving them the right place to go and get the support, whether that's online, for example. And I think some of the other key things for me around, you want to absolutely find that person that's got the genuine interest. But if you're able to provide, some kind of training, we train our champions so that they know what we kind of expect of the role and what support they can get. But if you aren't able to provide the training, that actually give them some time to actually go out there and have a look what's on offer. There are other places that kind of offer, some kind of resources or some free training that actually will just help them, because I think it's really important that that person is getting the support that they need, because they also need to look after their well-being as well. And then I think understanding the needs of your colleagues is really important. So as we were saying in the last episode with our wellbeing champions, we will give a kind of calendar of events and things that we think that should be a focus. And actually, we take a lot of our insight from what's happening because we've got a small forum of wellbeing champions that come and tell us about what's happening, what should we focus on, what's being kind of spoken about. So we hope that our topics that we're kind of promoting and doing some resources around will help locally. But actually, if that's not quite hitting the mark and actually you need to focus on a different topic because of what the team need, it's absolutely about doing what's right locally for you, and getting to understand the needs of colleagues is really important. And I think just reiterating a point that Sarah's made, don't be afraid to have the conversation about well-being in general. You even if you can't set up a program like we've got, don't be afraid to have those conversations about well-being and starting to talk to colleagues about it, because it is just such an important topic, and one conversation can make all the difference to somebody. So that's really important.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you've made some really lovely points there around having the right people in place, having that driving force that's going to champion it a little bit, starting small, thinking about what are the small areas that can get people engaged, using things in the practice already like notice boards where you can highlight key information or key events that might be championing well-being. Dog walks, absolutely. I'm a big lover of that, and getting out in nature and spending time outside, and also how that brings people together who may not always talk to each other. It's a lovely suggestion there. Keeping it simple, signposting to support that's already available, because there's lots of free resources that are out there already, and then understanding local needs, so making sure that you target your wellbeing program to what the practice actually needs itself. Those are such helpful suggestions. Thank you very much. Okay, so a bit of a personal question for you guys around well-being for yourselves then. So Scott, I'll ask you first. If you were stranded on a desert island, what one thing would you take or do to support your well-being whilst you were waiting for rescue?
So, first of all, I hope it would be sunny, because I think we all need some sun in our lives. But I think for me, probably a little bit cliche, if you like, but it'd probably be taking my dog. I've got a pointer. We rescued her 2 years ago, and never looked back. She definitely keeps me sane when I need it. If I want to get up and go for a walk, go for a run, she's there. But if I want to just sit on the sofa and just be able to chill, she's also there. She'll come and lay on me. She'll provide me with that kind of company. Other than if it's at dinner time, then she will want to be being fed. So maybe she won't sit down with me there. But I think it to me that's that thing of sometimes the really simple things of having like a dog is just something that really helps people, and actually she can provide me with that kind of companionship, if you like, and definitely keeps me sane when I need it. So yeah, that would be for me, I think.
Thank you, Scott. What about you, Sarah? If you were on that, we'll make it a desert island so sunshine.
So we've got some sunshine and some sand. That sounds good. I think for me, I'm going to cheat and go with an art supply box. So it's got lots of little things in. But yeah, so that I could draw, write, just take yourself away from what's around or what's happening if you're by yourself. I think it's nice, and that gives me something different to focus on. So yeah, I'd make sure that I've got pencils, pastels, bit of paint, plenty of water around, so that's fine, watercolors, and have a go at sort of just painting from imagination as well, I think. Yeah, just to try and give me some headspace and relax. I find that usually works.
It's great that you both have got a good understanding of what's important for you, for your own well-being, because that's quite an important step, isn't it? That you need to be able to recognize what it is that you need to support your own mental health and your own well-being. And for you, Scott, that's your lovely dog, and for you, Sarah, that's painting and art and the kind of craft side. So yeah, it's a useful thing, a useful exercise for people to do, to think about what is it that really helps me to feel more comfortable with myself, and to de-stress from work or life, or just be able to cope better with the different situations you find yourself in. What are those things that make the difference to you?
Yeah, we encourage our wellbeing champions when we go through the training to think about what toolkit for themselves they can have so that if they're having a bad time or they've had lots of difficult conversations with people, they know what can help them to feel better afterwards as well. So we give them time after the training to start to think about that and put that together before they go out and help everybody else.
Yeah, look after yourself before you try and
Yeah.
look after others, isn't it? Yeah, fantastic. Okay, brilliant. So, all right then. So if you could wave a magic wand to improve well-being within the veterinary profession, what would you do? So, Sarah, what would you do if you had that ability?
I think the ideal that we're aiming for is that every colleague can feel that they can talk openly about their well-being, whatever well-being means to them, that they've got someone that hears them and that they've got that support around them. I think, we want everyone to feel that discussing their own well-being is normal and it's okay to look after their own well-being as well as an animal's well-being in this sector. So yeah, I think everybody feeling that it's okay to talk about it and having somebody actually hear them is great.
Yeah. And what about you, Scott?
I'd say kind of linked to that a little bit in that I think it's simply that our messages about how important it is to look after your own well-being reach everybody. So you know where to go for the support that you need, or that you're thinking about what is it that you can do. We've just talked about what we know about our own well-being, and we know what we can do if we're not feeling in the best of places. So actually just everybody knowing what that is. And I'm sure we all find in our roles, whether, in a practice or not, that often, our focus is on doing a great job, especially for our teams in practice, looking after animals. And we often miss that information that's out there and that support. So actually, what I'd love to see is that every person knows where they can go and find that support should they ever need it, because there is so much out there that can help, and help you to kind of look after your own well-being when it's needed. So yeah, so that's what I would hope for.
Brilliant. Well, thank you both so much for taking part in our little 3-part mini wellbeing webinar series. It's been really lovely to chat to you and to find out about what you've been doing at IVC to really champion this and help those in the veterinary profession that may be struggling with their well-being, and helping those to not get to that place where they're struggling because they're investing in it from the beginning, which is what we really want, isn't it? We want everyone to be talking about it openly and able to implement strategies to protect their well-being as they go through our profession, which is a wonderful profession but can be hard at times. So thank you both so much for joining us.
No, it's been
No
good to share.
problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.